Hello. There we go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Gottschall. I am the Lower Paxton Township Manager. In typical fashion, I'm going to give a brief summary of this evening's agenda, particularly for the benefit of those who may be watching at home on television. This evening is a business session of the board. They have a number of action items to include, beginning first under old business. The board will take action on two ordinances, both pertaining to the provisions of the township pension documents, one being for the police pension plan, the other being for the non-uniformed employee pension plan. After that, under new business, the board will take action to approve the payment of an invoice pertaining to what is called an extraordinary and unanticipated repair to a 2009 Seagrave pumper out of the Paxtonian Fire Company. After that, the board will take action to award a contract to Michael Baker International for an active transportation plan contract. Following that, then finally, the board will act to approve the improvement guarantees, the payment of township and authority bills, and then finally hear any last announcements before finally making a motion to adjourn. With all that said, members of the board are seated now and prepared to conduct business. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the Board of Supervisors business meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Supervisor McCormick.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before the meeting tonight, the Board of Supervisors met in an information executive session from Director Kashiba and Deputy Chief Brett, and we will not be meeting in executive session after the meeting. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the 10/8/2024 budget workshop meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have public comment. All I ask is if you're coming for public comment, if there's anything on the agenda that you want to talk about, if you could please wait until that agenda item, and then we will have public comment for the agenda item. So with that said, is there anybody that wants to speak under public comment? Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. My name is John Lutz, and my address is 2337 Forest Hills Drive in the township. I'm here tonight regarding Penn Waste and the problems we've had with trash pickup. For those of us that have trash pickup scheduled on Friday, it appears we're getting the short end of the stick. And it almost seems to appear, particularly based on last Saturday where the roads were really just wet, that for some reason, Penn Waste seems to be looking for an excuse almost to not come out on Saturday for a trash pickup, and then they're pushing us back a week. And that presents two problems for us. First of all, if the cans are full, you really don't have any other place to put your trash. And the second problem is, and I have this problem, which is a long driveway with a slope, I now have to haul these cans back up to the other end of the driveway full and repeat the process again. So I'm just asking if the township could look into this. If nothing else, instead of pushing us back a week, push us back till Monday. And I realize it spreads the pain around a little bit, but those of us on Friday wouldn't be the only ones suffering.
Last week, we had a couple residents that were here, and Mr. Miller, I hate to put you on the spot again, Mr. Miller did give a little presentation on what the township is doing and what we are asking Penn Waste. So, Sam, if you would be able to just kind of give you a little bit of what you did last week, where we're at, what's happening with the meetings with Penn Waste.
Certainly. So we have regular contact with Penn Waste, and from a staff perspective, we're very well aware of the position that the Friday customers are put in, and it puts a lot of pressure on Saturdays. We've continued ongoing negotiations and discussions with Penn Waste in relation to working out with the incinerator to be extended hours on Saturdays for days we have to shift, this being a week similar to that where you'll be on Saturday because of the Monday cancellation. In relation to if an event occurs on a Saturday when you've been pushed, we've already started the discussion and frankly have pushed back a little bit harder about an alternative solution, such as what you're saying, a Monday double or a Tuesday double for the regular route and a Friday route, because again, this double pickup default response is not acceptable. So we continue to work on that, and hopefully we'll have some more detail to bring in the future. At this point, we're still being in open discussion pretty regularly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for attending. Is there anybody else under public comment? Yes.
William Miller, 4311. My comments are about the same as the gentleman that preceded me. When we were here the other week, the one gentleman, I wasn't aware, it's a two-pronged approach. The homeowners associations, I was not aware they were so tough on you, can't have a can out for 2 weeks. They're kind of holding their members hostage because some of these garages are so doggone small. As remember, we went to the smallest can, that's really what I call the HOA can. And so perhaps these HOAs, if there's a big problem, they need to work, because people get a letter if it's left outside, they get a letter if it's on the side of their garage, and they said they got a letter if they had a can or something stuck under their deck. So I think that they should be working with the township, and Penn Waste also do that. But on the other hand, the gentleman with the diapers, and I didn't even dawn on me. Here he's got 2 kids in diapers, 3 kids total. He doesn't want them in his garage. He doesn't have the room in his garage. So when you put things off on all of us have had to work a Sunday. I don't know what their contractual arrangements are, how they negotiate their contract, or they union or whatever. We don't work Sundays. Perhaps in the future they might want to work a Sunday and get caught up, because if you're picking up trash 6 days a week, 5 days a week, you lose a day, and then they don't come on Saturday. They're not getting paid. I would think they're not going to get paid if they just don't get a free day. So I think it would be conducive, perhaps, for Penn Waste to think about, or when we negotiate a new contract, if you miss it if it can't be done on Friday and it rolls to a Saturday and it can't be done on Saturday, you got to keep up, because I've had cans laying around for 2 weeks too. It didn't really bother me so much, but I'm not the HOA guy with 2 kids in diapers. And I did notify, I spoke with Tim about the Christmas trees. I would pick all this crap up and get rid of it. They wanted them delivered, I think, to the center over on Locust Lane. That's not going to happen for those people, for the people. They didn't want me to do it. And then Penn Waste got back to me later today, but they haven't said what they're going to do about these Christmas trees. And it's snow, so it's going to be a problem. Again, I'm willing to pick up my neighborhood and bring them to you, but I don't want to handle them twice. I'll load them, I'll haul them, and I hoped I could dump them out there at the compost center and just get rid of them, because it's going to save them a lot of time and money and labor. I don't know why they don't buy into it.
Okay.
It's free.
Mr. Miller is working very, very hard with them. They've been on the phone, every day, just trying to see how we can take care of this when we miss. And here we come again. It's Friday, so we're just hoping and praying it does not snow on Saturday.
Well, maybe it could be something could be negotiated in your next contract. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they can be a little bit tougher. You'd have more leverage then, too, to maybe perhaps have them do something for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else under public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, good evening. My name is Marisa White, Delano Boulevard. First, I'd just like to thank Amanda for her hard work in compiling the zoning ordinance, and Chris, Communications Director, and then Cheryl here, our secretary, for attempting to help me present this evening. I just had one request from the board, if I could receive a copy of the plans for the compost that's being proposed. And then I have 7 items after reviewing the zoning ordinance that I'd like to present for your considerations. The first being potential redundancy and definitions. Those are found on pages 3 and 4 for accessory structure and accessory building. They're typically they're identical and may require some consolidation. You've used the terms wireless communication antenna, tower-based, WCF non-tower, WCFs. This appears in multiple sections with overlapping descriptions. Unclear transfer of development rights, that's program. The ordinance provides an optional TDR provision but lacks clear guidelines on sending and receiving zones. This is located on page 57 and 60. Possibly add detailed explanations would be great to this ordinance. A lack of clarification on certain restrictions. So in your signage area of the packet, the sign regulations are addressed. However, further clarification should be provided for digital or illuminated signs. Gaps in sustainability. There's a lack of renewable energy sources or standards provided. It's just a kind of a blanket definition. Solar energy is provided on page 23 and 24. Wind energy on page 79 and 80. I'd like to propose that there be specific regulations for wind and solar infrastructure to be outlined in the ordinance. Gaps in sustainability, again, there's missing any green space infrastructure needs, what would be the requirements, green roofs, pavement, rainwater collection. This isn't covered at all. And is this something that will be covered or outlined? Gaps in economic development. There's nothing for the zoning or ordinance of like food trucks or shared kitchen facilities, seasonal vendor spaces, and our pop-up shops. There's nothing with definitions of what that would look like if that's even being considered. Gaps in economic development as well. Implement density bonuses or tax incentives for developers revitalizing some of the old structures and buildings within the township. Gaps in emerging technology. EV, it's just mentioned, there's just a definition of electronic vehicles, but the ordinance does not require like new commercial buildings. I know that was mentioned last week, or residential communities be required to provide some type of UV stations as a requirement for any new building that they, like a percent, possibly 10%, 5% of parking spaces be allocated or allotted to those electronics charging stations. You just have a definition to state that you'll allow, but I think some specifics would be great. And emerging technology, there's no mention of 5G deployment, like smart traffic signals in some of the areas. There are no mentions of turnabouts within the ordinance. And I think that it'd be great to have some more public feedback. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else under public comment? Okay. Well, chairman and board members' comments. Do board members have any comments this evening?
I do.
Okay. Mrs. Thompson?
Good evening. So I may be breaking ranks with my fellow supervisors, but I would just like to ask the constituency if you all want to communicate with us. The most effective way of communicating with us is to reach us. If you wanted to, we would prefer that we didn't receive it anonymously. In order for us to really be able to follow up on things, if you could put your name on the letter that you send us and mail it here to the township, we would be most appreciative. It's a little discomforting to me, I won't speak for the rest of the board members, to receive something at my house that was dropped off. So I would just appreciate it if you all could just drop it, mail it here to the township, and it really helps an investigation if you put your name on it, it sort of hamstrings us if you don't allow us to talk to you about what it is that you're complaining about. That's all I'll say on that. I would like to do my Hodges Heights survey. The question is, how many people would be okay or happy to have a landfill compost site in their residential community? I'm doing it for 121, I did it for 114. So if you could just raise your hand nice and tall, I would appreciate it. No hands up. For 121, would you mind coming up and putting a 0 down? Ma'am? Yes, please. Could you just put a 0 down for 121? Oh, okay. No.
Yes, everything is on television, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
Could you put it, thank you. You helped me out last week.
Last week,
Yeah.
I think people need to know who you are.
Thank you.
There you go, sweetheart.
Appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much.
Is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Other board members, you're good? Okay. Tonight, we are going to do 2 proclamations to 2 very special people that are sitting in the audience. So first, we would like to call up Representative Joe Kerwin. Okay, what I'm going to do, Representative, if you want to stand here, I'm going to read it, and then we'll come down and we'll join you. Okay? All righty. Because of the mic here. By it hereby proclaimed, whereas Pennsylvania State Representative Joe Kerwin has exemplified outstanding patriotism and leadership during his recent 10-month deployment to Eastern Africa as a member of Task Force Paxton's 2nd Battalion, 1112th Infantry, Pennsylvania Army National Guard. And whereas during his deployment, Representative Kerwin commanded a company of 131 soldiers, ensuring the security of a strategic expeditionary air base against terrorist threats and safeguarding vital American assets in an austere and challenging environment. And whereas through his exemplary leadership, Representative Kerwin successfully secured his area of responsibility, ensured the safety and the readiness of his unit, earning him distinguished military decorations, including the Meritorious Service Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Explanatory Medal, and the Air and Space Commendation Medal. And now therefore be it, and it is thereby proclaimed by the Board of Supervisors of Lower Paxton Township, Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, that we extend our deepest gratitude and heartfelt appreciation to Representative Joe Kerwin for his service to the state and nation as a soldier and as a legislator. Please give him applause. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
That's quite a surprise.
You were, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you stand here, and we have the, Norm Zumas is going to come up. Let me do his, and then we can all come down together, okay? So, oh, you do? Okay. Okay, Norm, do you want to come up? Mr. Zumas was on the Board of Supervisors and resigned, very sadly, the end of December. So we do have a proclamation for Norm.
I'm a professional heckler now.
Be it hereby proclaimed, whereas Norman C. Zumas has served the residents of Lower Paxton Township with steadfast dedication, exceptional leadership as a member of the Board of Supervisors from August 2018 through the end of 2024. And whereas during his tenure, Norm provided visionary guidance and worked tirelessly to address the needs of the township, furthering his progress and ensuring the well-being of its residents. And whereas Norm's distinguished career includes 24 years of service as a U.S. Army and Pennsylvania National Guard officer, where he earned numerous honors and retired at the rank of lieutenant colonel, as well as serving over 20 years as director of fixed operations for Huffman Ford. And whereas Norm's involvement in numerous civic and community organizations reflects his unwavering commitment to the betterment of our region, and now therefore be it, and it is thereby proclaimed by the Board of Supervisors of Lower Paxton Township, Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, that we extend our deepest gratitude to Norman C. Zumas for his exemplary service, dedication, and leadership, which has enriched the lives of countless residents. On behalf of the board, we want to thank both of you for your service in the military. We really appreciate it for both of you serving our country. So, great, okay. Do you want to give Mr. Zumas yours, and then we can come down, okay.
Thank you so much, Chair Lindsay, and as well as to the rest of the Board of Supervisors for those very gracious words. That was quite the surprise. I was not expecting that. I was expecting to come here to present a citation, which is why I'm here.
No,
Yeah, so
okay, well, then
you
that
made my day.
worked
Thank
out
you so
good.
much. But I am here tonight to recognize Norm Zumas as well. He is a friend of mine. He also was in the same National Guard unit as myself. We commanded the same company, a couple of years apart, but nonetheless, we were still in the same unit. And I just wanted to come out tonight to thank him for his service to Lower Paxton Township. Supervisors is a thankless job. You know, as a legislator, this is what I do every day. This is what I get paid to do, but you all do this in addition to your daytime jobs. So wanted to come out and acknowledge all the good things that Norm has done for Lower Paxton Township, all the countless hours that he has put in on behalf of the 50,000 plus residents of this township, and also thank him for his service to the nation. 24 years of good service, protecting this country, protecting our way of life, not just here in Lower Paxton Township, but in the United States. So I have a citation for him from the House of Representatives. I'm going to read it into the record right now. Certificate of Recognition awarded to Norman Zumas. Whereas the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is pleased to recognize Mr. Norman Zumas for his commitment and service to his community as a Lower Paxton Township Supervisor. Whereas Mr. Zumas has served as a Lower Paxton Township Supervisor for over 6 years. His dedication to his position and public service has promoted the township to successfully expand and prosper. Now, therefore, Pennsylvania State Representative Joe Kerwin pays tribute to Mr. Norman Zumas, acknowledges his time and service to the constituents of Lower Paxton Township, as well as the United States of America, and wishes the absolute best in all his future endeavors. Presented by the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, signed by State Representative Joe Kerwin. Congratulations.
Here, did you write that? Did you write that? Over here. Group shot here.
We're really going to surprise you with this.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Keep that out there to keep the rats away.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Your package?
I did. I did. I talked to Ms. Cross last night.
Oh, you did? Okay, okay.
Thanks. Thank you. Hey, this is nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Jack, just tell us how you need us to go.
Thanks, Jack. Thank you. congratulations to you as well.
Appreciate it so
That's
much.
very nice. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah.
It's quite a
Thank you.
surprise.
Yeah. Long time no see.
Thank you.
I know. You're gonna see him.
Right on top of the dartboard, Norm.
And thank you again for Mr. Zumis and Representative Kerwin for all that they do for the residents of Lower Paxton Township. Very much appreciated. Okay. Managers report.
Madam Chair, I have no official report this evening.
Okay, and I did forget, I wanted to thank Director Nolt and the Public Works and the Sewer Authority for the great job that they did Sunday into Monday for taking care of our streets and keeping us safe, that everybody could get out and about, not much yesterday, but today. So all I gotta do is get rid of the cold and then we'll be in good shape, so, okay.
Chairman Lindsay, I have a question.
Yes,
How many,
can you speak in? They can't hear you. Yeah.
how many miles of road do we have here in Lower Paxton Township that have to be plowed? Do you know?
It was 216. We've added a couple new streets. Are we still at about 216?
It's just under 220.
Okay, I was going to say 216, 218, because I know since we were told it was 216, we have added a couple of new streets in them. So just under 220 miles of roads that have to be plowed and salted. So they go into zones, and one zone normally takes 7 to 8 hours to do one zone. So that would 7 to 8 hours to plow, and if they have to go back and salt, then you're talking another 7 to 8 hours. I think they were out, 22 hours straight because of the storm Sunday into Monday. So again, we really thank the sewer department because they also help with the plowing and the salting, and the public works, again, very much appreciated. Okay. Old business. Action to adopt ordinance 2025-02, amending and clarifying certain provisions of the police pension plan document. We did have this last week in our workshop. Mr. Miller?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And your action tonight, I'll discuss them both together with both ordinance actions
Okay.
in relation to the police and non-uniformed. As you had noted, we did present this last week at workshop. This is fairly innocuous. It's updating for a number of legal and rule change, as well as a couple amendments that have been done to the pension plan over the last decade. This was last updated in 2012, so it was time for a refresh. But again, no expansion of any benefits provided under either of those two plans, and they both had been provided previously to the collective bargaining agreement contacts and discussed thereafter, and are ready for your action tonight.
Okay. Do I have any questions from the board? Questions? Good. Any questions from the audience? Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance? We're going to do each of them separate. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-02, amending and clarifying certain provisions of the police pension plan documents?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Next, I have an action to adopt ordinance 2025-03, amending and clarifying certain provisions of the non-uniform employee pension plan documents. As Mr. Miller explained, we did have this last week in workshop. He just explained both of them, but we have to make that motion separately. So do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-03?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
New business. Action to approve payment of an invoice for extraordinary unanticipated repairs to a 2009 Seagrave pumper at the Paxton Fire Company. Mr. Miller.
Yes, thank you again, Madam Chair. The board adopted Resolution 09-11, which permits the Board of Supervisors the ability to take action to reimburse one of our volunteer fire companies for, as you noted, an extraordinary, unanticipated apparatus repair cost on one of our township units following the recommendation to do so by the Public Safety Committee. Should it be approved tonight, the funds will be taken from the fire equipment capital plan to reimburse the relating fire company for such approved expenses. Paxton Fire Company incurred a catastrophic failure of the rear suspension of the township's 2009 C-grade pumper, totaling $13,229.58. The crew was returning from a call when they noticed the rear of the vehicle was leaning significantly to one side, and upon further investigation, they found the rear spring and the spring hanger had failed. The expense has already been satisfied by Paxton in full, and received Public Safety Committee's recommendation to the board to designate this cost under the provisions of Resolution 09-11 for reimbursement. I'd be glad to answer any further questions.
So the total's $13,229.58?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Any questions from the public? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve an invoice for Paxton Fire Company in the amount of $13,229.58?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Action to award a contract to Michael Baker International, Inc. for active transportation plan consulting services. Mr. Gutschall.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, as this board is now pretty intimately aware, the township had engaged in an RFP process in pursuit of a consulting firm that would be interested in producing an active transportation plan, which would identify missing multimodal connections and infrastructure throughout the township. And by that multimodal, in this case, we mean particularly as it relates to bike and pedestrian access. In all, 5 firms provided proposals to this RFP. They were HRG, Michael Baker International, Pannoni Engineering, Simone Collins, and Wallace Montgomery. From those 5, we selected 3 for panel interviews. There were a number of panelists on the interviews, and it is the unanimous recommendation of that panel to award this evening the contract for the ATP consulting project to Michael Baker International. As the board may recall, the township had received a $25,000 grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Health through their Walk Works program for this project. The rest of the cost of the expenditure is slated to come from the township's CDBG allocation. And in all, the project will cost, and what is before the board this evening is a contract, pull that up here, in the amount of $59,256.24. And I'd be happy to help answer any questions the board may have on this at this moment.
Does anybody have any questions? I knew you had a question, Pamela.
Well,
Yeah.
I had studied this and I had made my phone calls about this, and Sam gave me a lot of information on it. But as I was sitting here, is there any plan, any possibility that any bike path that we develop out here can be connected to the greenway?
Yeah, that's going to be part of this project.
Part of this study?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the specific kind of deliverables in the proposal, or actually the RFP, is to really identify missing multimodal connections specifically to existing infrastructure, such as the Greenbelt or township greenways or trails. So we want to identify those particular infrastructures with regard to the missing connections that then we can turn around, hopefully one day, and make those connections.
Okay.
So yes.
Eventually, the sidewalks, everything will be connected, we're hoping, in Lower Paxton Township. Right, Mr. Miller? Okay. Any other questions? Good. Okay. Do I have a motion to award a contract to Michael Baker International, Inc. for active transportation plan consulting service?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Subdivision and land development, improvement guarantees. Hang on here, it's coming up. Okay, it's not going to come up. So we have 3 improvement guarantees. Are there any questions? They're up on the screen right there. Any questions, anybody? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the improvement guarantees?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Payment of bills, Lower Paxton Township, Lower Paxton Township Authority. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I make the motion to pay the bills according to the second-class township code as treasurer.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Any announcements from the board? Last night, there was the 54th anniversary celebration of the Capital Area Council of Governments, which takes in 43 municipalities. Myself, Supervisor McCormick, Manager Gutschall, Assistant Manager Finance Director Mr. Miller, our Solicitor Morgan Madden, and Director Kashiba was there, and Director Kashiba was also the keynote speaker. He did an awesome job last night. And retired Mr. Zumis was my guest last night also, because he did fulfill his commitment as the alternate delegate for the year last year. So we did attend the celebration, and it was a great evening for Lower Paxton Township, because it was held in Lower Paxton Township, which was great. So, okay, with that, we will not be meeting now till, hang on here, February, it's not on here, February 3rd. Okay, February 3rd, that'll be Tuesday night, February 3rd, in this room at 7 o'clock, and that will be a business meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for attending.